Many thanks again for joining us on Nigerian Decides on independent television. We get our conversation on course by looking at the 2023 general election with specific reference to the expectations for the Edo State House of Assembly election. My colleague Egosa Agbalao earlier in our opening talked about some of the challenges that has bedeviled the House of Assembly, particularly against the background of how the inauguration into the House for the members took place, and that has left a reasonable number of members elect not to find themselves in the House of Assembly because on the day of the inauguration they were not there according to what we saw. Some were inaugurated with short knickers and all of that, but all of that is now in the trash can of history. But today is a day of reckoning because we have the opportunity to elect new people into the Edo State House of Assembly. And that seems to be a major talking point, a major action point, a major issue as far as the election is concerned. Today in the studio, we have with us Barrister St. Michael Egwaugie, who is a civil society activist, public affairs commentator. Barrister St. Michael, thank you for joining us on Nigerian Decides.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be here once more.
Okay, let's get started. There's so much interest in the Edo State House of Assembly election. What, in your opinion, is the trigger for that interest that we're seeing in the Edo State House of Assembly? Is this a major fallout from the presidential election, or is it a reflection of the realities on the ground?
Your colleague, Rosa Agbolao, already covered the feed. An historical perspective to the issue.
Okay.
It is not unconnected, with the way the present legislative house is constituted, the way and manner it was constituted, and the way the house has functioned since that period. Before this house was constituted,
yes,
if you go into history, we had Edo State legislative arm that was vibrant. We had a legislative house that performed its primary duty of legislative scrutiny, preventing a state of tyranny.
Okay, let me just take let's just take a pause. There's a technical hitch with your a sound. We'll take a break just for us to quickly correct that, and then of course we also have the opportunity to include our second analyst on the show, Comrade Shadrach Udugbai, in a moment. Please stay with us. Many thanks again for rejoining us on Nigerian Decides studio of independent television. We thank you for your patience. We thank you for your understanding. We also have now joining us Shadrach Udugbai, who is a public affairs commentator, political analyst, civil society activist. Shadrach, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sonny Duke, and good people of Edo State. Good morning. Okay,
we had started the conversation on the focus of our discussion, and we had Barrister St. Michael Egwaugie talking to us about why there is so much interest in the forthcoming general election, specifically for governorship and House of Assembly. In Edo State, it's just the House of Assembly. Why is there so much, interest from the PDP, from the APC, and the Labour Party? Yes, anchor the points here.
Like I was saying before the lightning struck a while ago.
There was no lightning strike.
I was saying that your colleague, Rosa Agbolao,
yes,
had already covered the feed, by way of giving, an historical perspective, to the issues. They are not unconnected, with the activities of, 2020 elections, down to post-election, and the way and manner in which the present legislative house, was constituted. Edo people generally view the legislative arm of Edo State today as a rubber stamp, a house that cannot even bark or bite, which is against, what Edo people are used to. If you take your mind back to 1999, up until 2020, that's before 2020, we used to have a legislative arm that is vibrant, a legislative arm that subjects the executive arm to legislative scrutiny, thus preventing tyranny and dictatorship. A legislative arm that checkmated the excesses of the executive arm, a legislative arm that truly represented the interests of Edolites. I remember those days when there were human rights abuses, either coming from the executive quarters, or some form of executive rascality, being displayed, by the executive arm. People could confidently, petition the House, knowing fully well, that what is coming, from the House, the outcome will be justiciable and, will do justice substantially, to the matter. Because as at that time, we had a House that, had the legislative imprimatur, the machismo, the muscle, the power, to speak truth, to power. But what is prevalent today is a direct opposite of where we are coming from. And Papa Idausa said, as a man, if you do not know where you are coming from, you can never know where you are going to. So as a people, we are looking towards this election as a means, to correct all these abnormalities, to ensure, that, political, massive and majority participation that democracy guarantee is truly enshrined, enforced, and implemented. That is our expectations.
Okay. Let's quickly just add this to the points that you have raised. Against this background, what is your expectation? What is your message to Edo people as it relates to Saturday's Edo State House of Assembly election?
My message, simply, is to tell Edo people from a neutral point of view that it shouldn't be about Edo State is not made up of Labour Party, PDP, or APC. We are a people, bounded by a common vision, for the quest of, geared towards the quest of prosperity and development. Edo State, we want Edo State that is prosperous, that is vibrant, that is lucrative, and Edo State that will provide opportunity for everybody, irrespective of where you are coming from, whether you are Isan, whether you are Isako, whether you are Benin, it doesn't matter. So let us, go to the pool on that day.
Okay.
Look at, the personalities involved, the individuals. We should look out for competence. We should look out for ability. We should look out for, capacity. We should, also look out for the antecedents of these individuals, vis-a-vis, trying to use it to extray their personality in order to determine their capability. It is not about, we don't, it doesn't make sense entrusting power into the hands of a person does not have the capacity to deliver and perform.
Thank you, St. Michael's. I like your style of approach. But my question will go to Shedrack. Now, before the presidential and national assembly election, we're talking about this third force thing. That before now we talked about two major political parties, the ruling party, the major opposition party, but now we're having a third force. Some persons said, no, it doesn't really matter, they don't have structure, with the wave, they just put it aside with the wave of the hand. But now, after the presidential and national assembly election, we've seen that there was a remarkable performance by the Labour Party. Now, Labour Party won. Labour Party has 6 senators after the presidential and National Assembly elections. And we saw the states that they won. They won in Cross River, they won in Delta, they won in Edo, they won in Anambra, they won in Abia, they won in Nasarawa, Plateau, Enugu, they won in FCT.
Yes.
Now, on the 11th of March, are you seeing a threat? I want us to like narrow it down to Edo now before we move to other states. Because other states, we have governorship and all of that. But in Edo, only the State House of Assembly. Do you see a threat to the ruling PDP in Edo State on the 11th of March?
Yes, I see chances for them, not necessarily threats. I see the chance of them wanting to clinch a seat or two, because the Labour Party has been acclaimed is a child of necessity. Nigerians have suffered seriously. We have suffered under the All Progressive Congress. We have met all manner of challenges. And Nigerians who were united in grief, who were united in hunger, united in unemployment, came together and moved into the Labour Party and established themselves. So the Labour Party, to a large extent, cannot be undermined, because the challenges that have bedeviled Nigerian democracy in recent time cannot also be undermined. So that was what we saw in the last election. But what is more ominous as we go into the March 11th election is that there's now a political party that has played its card open. A political party that has proven beyond reasonable doubt as the impaired enemy of the Nigerian people. A political party that stood strong and denied Nigerians of the new Nigeria we had envisioned. That denied Nigeria of the mandate that we so strongly and so dangerously fought for. A political party that colluded with INEC and ensured that the new Nigeria we dreamt of, the future of our children is being carted away, and Nigeria is being continually and perpetually held down by the knees.
I must interject.
And that political party...
You do not have evidence to validate that there was a collusion or there was a connivance with INEC. You don't have
okay, in as much as you call it challenges, the INEC made some laws and they reneged on their laws.
You can say that.
We could say so. So there's a political party that we have pointed out. The preposterous opinion in public domain points to us that the All Progressive Congress is now the enemy of the Nigerian state. And going into this March 11th,
it's not correct. You can't say that. The All Progressive Congress, they have their supporters.
They do have their supporters.
Members.
And the supporters know the truth.
You can't say they are the enemies of the state.
Okay, let me make it clear to you.
Allow that
yes. Whether it's allowed here or not, but the preponderance of opinion in the streets points to the fact.
Should I just zero in on
the
main
focus? The focus is this. As we move forward to this March 11 election, that Nigerians will be coming out to make a statement. In close disconnection with what happened in February 25th, a party will be unanimously rejected at the polls to make a clear statement, or the Nigerians will no longer entertain such acts in this Nigerian political space. And beyond that, we also know what had happened in time past. We have members of the All Progressive Congress were duly elected into office, and they deliberately absconded to Abuja to sit down with a political godfather who they have acclaimed is the leader and masters and had the power. So the challenge is that the party went back and gave that same persons who had reneged on their electoral mandate the right of first refusal. Many of them are now being brought back. And people are asking, the one we had given to you in the last years, you did nothing with it. You practically left us unrepresented. And now you are coming back to seek for money the second time. So these are the characteristics of those parties, persons in those political parties. And that's why the political space is being heated up. And they're now beginning to try to sell all forms of political sentiment to woo the interest, to sway the interest of the Nigerian people to another direction. Beyond that, there's also a rhetoric of persons we know. That they said the governor had not done well, he had not engaged in lots of political patronage. I've often said, Clay, yes, there are some sentiments that are legitimate. Some persons have said things that are valid. Because I myself, I won't view this government to be slightly elitist. Because the man who is in charge is a visionary. Because everybody has their intrinsic characteristic style and their disposition toward good governance. The way I will lead is not the way Sonny Duke will lead. And we have addressed this issue. The man has even come to say, okay, yes, I understand. That because of the high fallacy project, because when I came up, but I wanted to envision a new state for the Edo people. I want to look at 2030, look at 2050, and see how we could put some basic infrastructures, empower human capital resources, build institutions that can work and function, and see how we can move the state to a new paradigm. We knew where we were coming from, where Agberos were giving multiple taxation, they were bullied, so the level of social governance in those states was at the lowest ebb. Those persons were ousted out of power. The man reduced this idea of political patronage whereby contracts were given to politicians before giving to handed over to contractors. But all of these persons who did not benefit from this new style of governance had gone to the background, colluded with the enemies of the state to see how they can snuff power out of the man in power. So those are the basic challenges, because you see that the preponderance of political opinions sway to ways. Let us see how we can remove Look at put a dubious political state house of assembly that is capable of removing the governor from the seat. And all of those things are recipe to chaos and anarchy. Yes. And I've often said that if
let me just quickly interject, because you just made a point that I believe that our viewer out there, the electorate, they want clarification.
Yes.
You talked about threat of impeachment.
Yes.
That's what you have just talked about now. Why is Governor Obaseki afraid of impeachment?
Certainly not. But you know
so why is this issue of
in a legitimate democracy, I would never advocate for a one-party legislative arm of government. But the problem we had is that we have seen the legislative arm of Edo State House of Assembly under the leadership of the APC. Even when they had mass majority, they still could not coordinate themselves. They still could not get persons who were legitimately elected to office to be sworn in as officers. Their sole aim at that point in time was to cause chaos, recipe for disaster and anarchy. And it's the same persons that are still found on the ballot of the Young Progressive Congress. And it's the same persons that are agitating and crying and campaigning massively to be returned. And these persons only have one agenda. And that's why the Young Progressive after
What's that agenda?
The agenda is to cause chaos and anarchy in the state.
What type of chaos?
To ensure that they have unfettered access to the collective patrimony of the Edo people. They have access to the resources and treasures of the state. That they can sit in their house and determine what happens. They want to bring back the old days of political godfatherism and ensure that they keep the state at their political jugular. And that is what the Edo governor has emancipated the Edo people from. Okay. He has said we won't go back to those dark days. And we're going to establish a new order of political governance.
All right. So Michael, let me get you to talk to some of these issues. The governor of Edo State is not contesting this election. He's not contesting this election. In fact, in the next governorship election, he's not going to be contesting. I mean, would have run out his tenure. Do you think there are strong concerns on the part of the executive for the outcome of the Edo State House of Assembly election? And if there are, why? In any case, if the governor has done well, like some people would allude to, by virtue of the project that you see and the impact that you see across the state, that should be enough justification for Edo people to say, look, we're going to give you a House of Assembly that will complement your effort. But it seems there are discordant tunes as it relates to this. Let me get your reactions on this.
Mr. Sonny Duke, you just intelligently, technically, and tactically deflated all the submissions of my friend here.
No, I'm asking you a question. I'm asking you a question.
But telling us that Obaseki is not on the ballot.
Okay.
It's not on the ballot. You know, we have a collection of, several individuals from different communities and constituents aspiring, to represent the interests of their constituents. Those are the people on the ballot. However, by extension, election could be a referendum on the performance or otherwise of the sitting government, like it happened, on the 25th of February. Just to correct one impression you made, your colleague, Rosa Agbolao, asked him a very direct question. Do you see Labour Party as is it a threat or?
Yeah.
He said
party.
He said they are not a threat. And when he made that comment, even his conscience was slapping him.
But you didn't enter. So did you know that?
You didn't
enter his conscience.
I'm a psychologist. Okay. Because the facts are sacred. I, for one, as a political analyst, didn't envisage what happened on that day. What happened on that day was what defied all logic, all permutations, calculations, all kind of projections and arrangements. The way and manner Peter Obi performed, I didn't see it. I was shocked, bamboozled, petrified. In fact, every projections that were made were practically demystified. An election where sitting governors lost. An election where sitting senators lost, an election where the godfather of a certain political party, who himself is an aspirant, also lost Lagos State, and you saying that that party is not a threat, that statement, amounts to hocus pocus. It stands logic on its head. If you say Labour Party is not a threat in this coming election, it means, Mr. Shedrack Dubai is not even sincere to himself. Labour Party is a threat in these coming elections, and that threat is real.
Why is there this seeming consensus of opinion that there is need to have an independent Edo State House of Assembly, a House of Assembly that would hold the government accountable, that would superintend over the activities of government by way of oversight function and all of that? Isn't that a clandestine move in a way to scuttle whatever efforts is being made in the state right now by the present government?
You see, if the present government is popular, he has nothing to fear. If the present government has performed or is performing, he has nothing to fear. Definitely they will go into the poll and win the election. Is it not logical? It's logical. But why people like us as stakeholders are agitating for an independent, vibrant, and legislative arm is because without a vibrant legislative arm, democracy will diffuse into social imababa. There is no democracy where there are no check and balances. In fact, the outcome of a democratic process that is devoid of a vibrant, independent legislative house will be tyranny and dictatorship. And that is what we have witnessed for the past 5 or 6 years.
You can't say that. You can't say that.
I have witnessed a kangaroo setup.
St. Michael, you can't say
a setup that has
it's tyranny.
Because we know what tyranny means.
You can't say there's tyranny.
Yes.
Now there's something that let me interject here.
Okay.
Both Shedrack and St. Michael, we don't have the opportunity of having some of those legislators who were not sworn in.
Yes.
With us here, but in the news, we watched different reactions. Some of them reacted. Some of them were interviewed. Those were not sworn in. Because you said now that they ran to Abuja.
They absconded.
That they absconded. But they said they didn't abscond. That they were not given
the opportunity
to be inaugurated.
And that was
sworn in goes with some kind of fanfare. So, was there that official fanfare? That kind of inauguration ceremony that we are used to? Was that what happened that day? That's an issue. But again, for St. Michael, to say there is tyranny, no. We have an executive. We have the House of Assembly. If you say all the members were not inaugurated, that is another issue. But for you to say that there's a tyranny, we will not accept that on this platform.
Mr. Egusa Agbonlao, that's my perception of what has transpired in Edo State. And I just echoed it. My perception may be right, may be wrong, but I think I have a right to expression. And that is why I just expressed it in that manner. You see, Mr. Sonny Duke, alluded to a fact when, during his intro on this program. He said that the day the house was constituted and inaugurated, some people came with short knickers and slippers. Is that not what you said?
I actually said that.
Sonny Duke also corroborated that. You said it, and Sonny Duke corroborated it.
Yes.
Alluding to the fact that, some of them were playing golf somewhere. And they called them, come on, why inaugurate us? So that all those people will not go call and shine us. Some were playing table tennis. Some were even in the kitchen cooking, preparing meal for their children to go to school. For the next day, when they quickly invited them, hurriedly couple the house and put it together.
When you are true, Sheldon will have to comment on that.
I will state very clearly.
However, you see, after a house is constituted,
yes,
whoever is not present still have the opportunity, to be inaugurated. That now becomes the responsibility of the Speaker of the House. It is only on that day, the governor have a role to play. After that day, it behoves on the Speaker, to correct, whatever abnormalities that ensued, on that day. And the correct, Speaker, they don't extend olive branch or hand the fellowship, to, the 14 members. The 14 members, like Shedrack said, he said they absconded to Abuja.
Yes.
One will begin to wonder whether Shedrack is related to them or is their PA.
So how did you know? How did you know? How did you know that there was no extension? Yes. For them to be inaugurated. Because we actually saw some who were not inaugurated.
I live in Edo
that
State.
Eventually were inaugurated by.
I've lived in Edo State since that time.
Yes.
I've never for one traveled. I have monitored ITV and EBS News. There is nowhere, it was put out in the public space.
Okay,
no, it's good for Shedrack.
Let's get Shedrack.
I will answer in three concentric views.
Yes.
Okay.
First of all, the All Progressive Congress is a party that is known for chaos and anarchy, both at the national and at the state level.
You are still trying to.
No. And those aspects. No, that was a 24/24 APC members position. If the House cannot coordinate themselves.
Shedrack, just try and be civil in your language. Talk to the issues.
Okay, let me.
Yes, please. Talk to
Okay,
the
let me answer very clearly. We saw members who were not inaugurated at first. Later, they were added to the group.
Okay.
We saw these same 14 members sit down in a private location in GRA and superintended over a house. Can you cry more than the man that is aggrieved? These people said they were duly elected. They inaugurated themselves. They held parliament. It was shown on ITV repeatedly. So a man who claims to be in his own imaginary legislative council, how do you tell that man to come and solve it? So they made dangerous attempt to polarize the state. The people against government. Can a man, I said they absconded. Clearly they absconded. And they constituted an illegal house that could not stand. With the hope that the same governor they ran to meet in Abuja was going to come and usurp the government in those states. And when that effort failed, that was how they went straight into oblivion. We were hearing of them. We were coming on air to speak and agitate, thinking that 2020 was going to be the end of the PDP governor, the APC, the governor Obaseki. But when that one failed, they shocked them to the boss and they all froze into their hidings. So that was, so let them not come now and begin to pen the stories anew as though we had forgotten very quickly. So let them not make it sound as though somebody was somewhere that prevented these persons from being inaugurated. They were all members of the same political party. They had the same ideology. They were all, so there was no opposition among them. So if there was any discord, it's a party issue that they could not resolve. And that it bestows still on the APC. So the challenge is that when you say people absconded, clearly they absconded. They neglected and reneged on their duty. They went ahead to form a kangaroo legislation court that did not stand. They failed in their attempt to remove the government in 2020. And now they are coming back. They have clinched the ticket again. Coming back to continue exactly where they had stopped. How can a man who had not been inaugurated be planning of impeachment? That will tell you that the man had nothing on his agenda rather than impeachment.
And so the chieftain of the APC has also made a public statement that
the one he said yesterday,
they don't have intention of impeachment.
Then you now ask them what exactly they should bring the manifesto of these persons who are campaigning.
But
they should bring their political agenda to
they have a right to contest.
Yes, they do.
They have a right to campaign.
Yes, they do.
They have a right to seek for elective positions.
Of course.
And if there are people, the people in their constituencies find them worthy in character and in capacity to represent them, I believe they will vote for them.
Certainly, the results will speak.
And when they do vote for them, they get inaugurated into the House.
Yes.
That will bring forth a robust State House of Assembly. You said
yes,
that you look forward to a House that is robust,
yes,
made up of different political parties,
yes,
so that we can have a proper... Are you saying that with what is currently constituted in the Edo State House of Assembly, that's a proper House of Assembly? Is that what you're saying?
No. for a House of Assembly that does not promote even minority, it's not even majority, it's not even half of what they ought to have. For me, the House of Assembly is even dysfunctional. But it's a product of the All Progressive Congress. The challenge I'm having here is that people try to separate political ideology from political candidates. In a sane democracy, a candidate comes into office to put in place the ideas, the ideologies of the party. And that's why the party provides ministers and commissioners to further perpetuate the ideas of the party. So this idea of wanting to say to separate the interests, the candidates from the political platform which it comes to power is a dubious arrangement. It weakens the Nigerian democracy. And that's why I've advocated that if persons must stand, they should stand strong and soldier in a particular direction. So the idea of saying, this is for me, I find it very disturbing, but it's what we have seen, the situation we have found ourselves.
Would you say that Edo people are politically educated enough to be able to distill all of these issues and then make the right choice as far as this House of Assembly?
See, the history points very clearly. Right from when Oshomole, in his strongest, or when he was governor at the peak of his performance, they did presidential election, the PDP won the states. They did legislative arm of a House of Assembly election, APC took majority. He repeated himself again when Obaseki was in the APC. APC ran the election, APC governor was in state, PDP won the states. They did House of Assembly, APC got 24/24. So it's not something that is new. This has been established. Any people are intellectually sound. They are independent minded. The history clearly states that whenever an election comes, they sit down, they extract the challenge, the issues that are brought to bear. That's why these issues are important, because they take their time to cross-fertilize ideas. They know where the trajectory is, and they make decisions
so are you indirectly saying what transpired in the presidential and national assembly election will not happen again
in the State House of Assembly?
Yes, because the issues are different. At the national level, what we had is that, first of all, they wanted to usurp a government that had no soul and no conscience. A government that had introduced double-digit inflation, has introduced unemployment to 65%, massive hardship, farmers' headers clash, cartocracy, all manner of dubious. The three things they promised, they neglected all three of them and went into a white goose chase. As if that was not enough, they made an attempt to bring a man that lacked the strength and the intellectual capacity to represent governance. So people moved from that political platform, and the PDP did do so well. They also brought a man who had been known to be with the establishment, the article. When we in the People's Democratic Party and clamored for a younger person, knowing where the direction was heading to it. That we need a more vibrant human being, someone of the 50-somethings, 60-something, someone who cannot be seen to have belonged in the old era. And for example, even the challenges we have that are coming forward are challenges that we need to be addressed using technological and innovative resolutions. But these old persons who are 70-something, 80-something may not have this technological inclination. And so we have educated for something. So when they brought these two old candidates who are seen to be of the same political order, it became a challenge for young voters like us. But because we are partisan politicians, we had to stand with the party. So when persons moved away from this political platform to join forces with Peter Obi, who perhaps had something that could be likened to political financial integrity, who had proven beyond reasonable doubt that he had what can best describe as frugality. Because he said he managed resources and it was shown that he had stupendous amount of money. So when they moved in. It was not just in Edo State.
So you don't see that as a factor?
No, I say when this election comes in March 11th, the people will speak clearly that they have the government has done well, and they will support the People's Democratic Party to ensure stability in government, because those rascals who come into power and try to cause chaos, anarchy, and doom will not be given a chance to ensure that money that's supposed to be used in building roads and other key infrastructures will not be used in mobilizing Agbero and police.
So there's something that you have not really talked about.
Yes, I want to talk
about some of those House of Assembly members elect that were not inaugurated and all of that they are coming back from the platform of the APC.
Yes.
Well, you've forgotten that the Labour Party and some other parties will also have candidates on that day.
Yes.
So it's not an election. You're focusing to be an election between the APC and the PDP.
No, if the Labour Party
on that day,
legitimate candidates,
on that day, you're going to have candidates from the Labour Party.
Yes.
Who, of course, won Edo State. In the last presidential election, they got the highest votes. Yes. And they won in the neighboring state of Delta.
Yes.
So, if you have the conviction that, okay, what transpired in the presidential and national may not play out, I don't have a problem with that. But you need to also know that these other parties, including the Labour Party, also have candidates, and they stand a chance of gaining support from the electorate as well. So
when we started, you asked me, is Labour
PDP.
Party a threat to the ruling party? I said it's not a threat, that they have a chance.
So just
I said they had a chance.
So
I corroborated not being a threat, so they have a chance.
Okay.
It's a chance. Every man who has legitimate ambition should aspire. And if the peace found only by the people, should be given a chance to represent. I do not have problem with presence in the Labour Party. So also with other 17 political parties who will be presenting candidates.
Yeah.
But particularly about the All Progressive Congress. And that's what my interest lies.
All right, Vice President Michael, let's look at some analogy. Over the years, we've seen instances where at the presidential level, the PDP had sway. And when it came to the State House of Assembly, the APC had sway. We saw that during the administration of Comrade Adam Salio Shomole. Now, at the presidential level, in this election, in Edo State, Labour Party held sway, right? Are you seeing the possibility of a major opposition party taking the State House of Assembly against the background of the reactions and counter-reactions that are trailing the performance of the state governor?
Certainly.
Why are you so certain about that?
The reason why I'm certain about that is this. If you listen to Mr. SSA here to the government.
Go ahead, Sir Michael. Let's just stay on course.
He gave a background to the reason why, what played out in the last election will play out again. He just gave a reason. He said he admitted on state television.
International television. International television, please. Yes, thank you.
Because this station is seen abroad.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Australia, US, and all over the world.
Yeah.
It covers the entire South and beyond, and across. He admitted openly that the Edo State House of Assembly, as presently constituted, is dysfunctional.
Yes.
The question I expected Mr. Sonny Duke and Ego Sagbola to ask, therefore, is where do you go from here? If the house is dysfunctional, it means there is need for repair.
Yes.
It means there is need for development. It means there is need for progress. It means there is need for us to move away, from what, is presently constituted.
Okay.
It means that, the people that manage the legislative business this present time failed woefully. They didn't do well. There is need for us to look beyond. In looking beyond, the people of Edo State will beam their searchlight on other political parties. Labour is an option. APC is an option. SDP is an option. They will look at them and begin to select those that they think have the capacity, the competence, and the ability to speak on their behalf and represent their interests in the interest of cohesion, unity, prosperity, and progress.
Okay.
That is what I'm looking forward to, March 11. People like us who are perceptive, we're already looking beyond our nose. But a lot of people can't yet see beyond their nose. But I am certain, I am sure of one thing, that again, the referendum, on March 11 shall be loud and resounding.
All right, Shedrack, just say a comment from you. I've heard people say that is a day of reckoning for the present leadership in the state with the Edo State House of Assembly. Do you subscribe to this?
Yes, directly and indirectly.
Directly.
Because I believe that the governor, having looked at the current constitution of the current House of Assembly, was moved to selecting the very best of persons within the People's Democratic Party. The creme de la creme, men who have the intellectual capacity, who are devoid of that agberoistic past, who understand legislative business. It's from those crop of young persons that he has chosen. Majority of persons who are coming to the State House Assembly are young and intellectually inclined.
So he chose them.
No,
it wasn't the political party that picked them. That's what you said.
As a governor of the party.
Yeah, he chose them.
He chose them.
So if he chose them, he's bringing them to Robusta, whatever he's doing. He selected them.
In Nigeria, there's a way we use our local languages.
Okay.
When I say, as far as they have risen from the party, it's honors of the governor to accept them as his candidate and promote them.
Okay.
So when I said they had come through democratic process, and now the governor has to take ownership of the candidate and support them. Okay. So at this point, material point in time, we are seeing them as the governor's candidate, having emerged organically from the party, and the governor being leader of the party. Okay. So yeah, this program has now been brought forward to engage and present themselves for proper legislative business. Then secondly, the All Progressive Congress must be very, very courageous. They must have the balls of steel to come out to Nigerians and still demand for votes.
Okay.
In mass level for what has happened.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Of course, it's an ongoing conversation as we march towards March 11, the state houses of assembly and governorship election across the federation. I want to say big thanks to Barrister Michael Ekwalgi.
Thank you so much.
Shedrack Dubai.
Thank you very much.
I'm sure we'll have them here again as we move towards the March 11 election. Let's take a break. We'll have our next set of panelists on set as we talk about the Supreme Court judgment and some other issues as it relates to the presidential and National Assembly elections. Stay with us.